G'day again, Greg Aussie Stilton, owner of Rushmore Real Estate Group and licensed mortgage originator for Omni Home Financing. Today is August the 17th. So what is important about that? Well, today, due to a recent class action lawsuit against the National Association of Realtors, the NAR, and a number of corporate real estate groups like Remax, Keller Williams, some changes are being enforced when selling and buying real estate. While many of the changes are simply to further document and clarify what we have already been doing in South Dakota, it does now make agents open a more detailed discussion as to how commissions are paid and by who. In doing so, it places more emphasis on the fact that the cost of buying or selling is negotiable. Whilst always has been, in many cases has in the past been presented as, well, this is what the market charges. Many cases giving the impression that fees and commissions were not negotiable. I never liked that approach, and from when I established Rushmore Real Estate Group several years ago, I offered the lowest listing fees in the region and a buyer's incentive. Over the years, some other groups have tried to mimic our compensation structure, but few, if any, have been able to meet our innovative low fees. I'd always suspected that the market would balance out over time and my competitors would have to reduce their compensation to a similar level, but it never really happened. I sense this was largely because the conversation was never really presented as a negotiation with the sellers. Well, it seems the new changes are going to change that and bring the discussion about compensation to the table. I feel great that I've been ahead of this change for many, many years, and that my buyers and sellers have greatly benefited from our low fee structure. So what are these changes? First, let's review buyers. As has always been the case in South Dakota, you will sign a written agreement with your agent before touring a home. The buyer agreement must now include 4 components concerning compensation: a specific and conspicuous disclosure of the amount of or rate of compensation the real estate agent will receive or how this amount will be determined. Compensation that is objective, either a dollar amount, a percentage, or an hourly rate, and not open-ended. I cannot be buyer broken. Compensation shall be whatever the amount the seller is offering to buy to the buyer. A term that prohibits the agent from receiving compensation for brokerage services from any source that exceeds the amount or the rate agreed to in the agreement with the buyer. And, important one, a conspicuous statement that broker fees and commissions are fully negotiable and not set by law. So in reality, not a drastic change as to how we have always done business in South Dakota, other than making it clear it's a negotiation. The agent cannot receive more than what was originally agreed. The buyer is still responsible to pay compensation to the agent if other parties, sellers, do not offer to cover this cost. Sellers, what has changed? Like the buyers, nothing really has drastically changed. The seller can still offer, as they have in the past, to pay or not pay a buyer's agent's compensation. What has changed is how this is now presented to the seller in the listing documentation, which opens up the discussion as to the negotiability of that compensation. Also, listing agents are unable to advertise or list that compensation amount on the agent's MLS system. This will result in buyers' written offers now including a crest to the sellers to pay an amount or a percentage of compensation to the buyer's agent, where historically it was always detailed up front and assumed to be part of the standard transaction. So for you as buyers and sellers, I don't think so, there is any significant changes as to how you will buy or sell your home in South Dakota. I do, however, believe that bringing discussions with regards to negotiation of compensation to the table will drastically change the landscape over time. The power to negotiate a fair and reasonable compensation is clearly placed in the hands of the sellers and buyers, giving you confidence to tell your agent that what you believe is a fair fee. I think this over time will bring the market average compensation to where we are at Rushmore Real Estate Group and have always been. If your agent will not negotiate a fair, reasonable and competitive compensation structure to sell your home, find an agent that will. At Rushmore Real Estate, we have always been the market innovators with our low fees and buyers' incentives. In keeping with that innovative service, I'm also the only agent in the Black Hills that I'm aware of that is a licensed mortgage originator. What does that mean? What does it mean for you? It means low seller's fees, full buyer services from start to end with no disconnects with other lenders or other parties. If you'd like to know more about our low fees or additional lender services, which includes purchase, refinance, HELOC, products like VA, FHA, conventional, give me a call on 605 939 5649. Cheers. Have a wonderful day.